We'd like to welcome all the way from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Alexander Jorgensen. His visual work and writings have appeared in such publications of Black, Moria, Drunken Boat, Noon, Journal of the Short Poem, Shampoo, The Return of Karl Majales, Prague's International Literary Renaissance, 1990 through 2010, and others. Letters to a Younger Poet, Correspondences with the Late Robert Creeley, appears in Jacket number 31. His visual poetry has been exhibited in Atlanta, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Kolkata, Prague, Moscow, Toronto, and most recently at the 2011 Text Festival in Bury, UK. He has lived in such disparate places as the US, China, India, the Czech Republic, Kazakhstan, Oman, and the Galapagos Archipelago. Please welcome Alex Jorgensen.
He'll be right back.
What?
He'll be right back.
Where did he go? Poets. Here we go.
Yes.
Let me make sure my camera's still running.
Artists.
There you go.
Goodness. Thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you very much, Heather, for organizing this festival. I'm in the wonderful position, or in a position of great misfortune, sort of being sandwiched between two giants, Tom and then Rich. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read some poems for you. In a lot of ways, I think it's probably fair to say that the best way to view what I'm doing is that I'm sharing with you my song. Can everyone hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I'll share some work with you, and hopefully you'll find something of value in what it is that I do. Now, let's see. I'm going to start off with two poems that are essentially meditations. This first poem is entitled "If a Good Wind Comes," and it's a meditation on patience. For those of us that have grown up with animals, this piece may have a very sort of poignant memory, poignant meaning for you. It's a sort of a process-oriented piece. Okay. If a good wind comes. It's about patience. If a good wind comes, these flat jacks will get colder before syrup's delivered to this very spot. Can't pretend any of that'll be easy. Can wait a long time, say, but simply, your tail keep wagging till then. Goodness, before I got here, I wasn't nervous, and now I'm extremely nervous. It's probably a good thing. There's nothing worse than thinking that everything's okay. Okay, this is another poem. It's entitled Chanticleer, and like I said, it's a meditation. I lived in China for about 6 years, and the first year I lived in a place called Harbin. And during the Cultural Revolution, there was a period of time when birds were viewed as bad omens. And so in this community where I found myself, there were no birds, because the birds had been killed, and also there was a lot of pollution. And it took me probably about 3 months to figure out why it was that I was so unhappy. And it had a lot to do with the fact that me, originally from Western Massachusetts, a farm boy, surrounded by forests. Part of my understanding of myself was my relationship to the land. And so for about 3 months, every day I'd wake up and I'd just be depressed, and I didn't understand why, and it was because there weren't any birds. Now this poem is about how even the most mundane has value. And I think with regards to wisdom, for me, that was an important lesson to learn. Chanticleer. It's about the mundane, the importance of the mundane. Chanticleer. Because a rooster's nothing better to do, and the hens have heard his clear song already. Again, once again, again. This up a little bit. All right. This poem's entitled "Like Swallowing Bullets from a Glock." Does everyone know what a Glock is? Very powerful plastic gun made in Austria, I think.
Yeah. Ugliest gun made, one of the
I've had I don't know. I've spent a lot of time away from North America, about 13 years, and spent a lot of time feeling very displaced, exhausted by cross-cultural experiences, exhausted by the many questions that one asks themselves when sort of thrust into situations that you have very little capacity to initially understand. And so, in a lot of places that I've spent time in, I've had sort of the well, either you love me or you hate me, but I've certainly done my share of demonstrating my vulnerability, I guess you could say. Like swallowing bullets from a Glock. See, just didn't understand what a son of a bitch I was turning into. Box of 100 mountain gorillas. Having wanted elegance to be my motorcade and still cursed the face as if it been held this loaded gun. Among soft-haired girls, rosewater, my armpits stank. Dirty beer, floppy jeans. Okay, these next two poems are about irony. I once dated a brilliant woman, professor at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and we used to always get into these sort of semantical arguments, where in the end the truth really wasn't important. It was about the skills with which we debated our respective positions. So it's called Article of Critique. Fella says it's raining, but he doesn't know how to debate. So we argue till he loses, and by chance, in the end, it doesn't matter that we're wet. I was at a place called Jessica's Lounge. It's a small little towny pub in my hometown. And I was there one day and I was listening to people talk about, a couple talk about their wedding. So this is in response to that. Paradoxes, irony. Jessica's Lounge. Did what's-his-face ever leave? He invited 400 of his closest friends to the wedding. But I did not think the world that safe a place when he finally bought her a diamond. took an antihistamine before saying, I do. This is called Is a Course That Began by Demanding Your Love. It's a short little poem. It's framed by this title, hopefully well enough. Is a course that began by demanding your love. And the voice, hush, said the room. Its period, its intonated lyrical quality, how melodious, oomph, that measure of breath, its whoo, intoxicated enunciation, softly falling unfixed. My mentor was Robert Creeley, Black Mountain poet, very, very generous, gracious, wonderful man. If I hadn't had his friendship, I don't know that I would have continued writing or doing whatever it is I do, whether it be visual poetry or sort of textual poetry. It's called Old Country Western Singer, this poem, and it's in our conversations, and this was a very accomplished poet, again and again and again, he used to refer to himself as nothing more than an old country western singer, nothing more than sort of a Johnny Cash, making reports on the world and simply living within what he believed to be his caste. And this is kind of like a celebration of two friends. I make a reference to a painter by the name of Ivan Albright, who is an American magic realist painter. I just mention that now because Albright comes up in the poem, and I don't want you to think it's Madeleine Albright. Okay. And Ivan Albright was known for, he was obsessed with documenting in his painting sort of the decrepitude of aging flesh, I guess you could say in some ways. Okay. Old country western singer. We'll be coke whores once the bowl of cheese runs out. Along the cusp where Albright brought flesh, new realism. Past the coiling sphincter, where the soul's expunged, we'll sleep no longer able to brutally struggle, slumping to the floor at the Russell Hotel bar. And carrying 5, fist full of someone else's emotions, we'll smoke silk cuts, filling tumblers with wedges of day, our box guitars twanging amid black flies and dung beetles. Be a chaste swill said. Okay, let me see. I'm sorry. Be a chaste swill from said, you and me, Bob. Okay. Oh goodness, let there be love in the room. I'm so nervous.
I was just gonna say, there's so much love. Don't chill out.
Oh goodness. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Doing great.
It's
All
so
right.
fun.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, this next poem is called North Boston Dinner Party. In the north of Boston, we've got sort of a strong Italian-American community. This was based on a conversation that I had with a friend of mine from North Boston. I'm from Massachusetts, but I'm not from Boston. So I make allusions, or I talk about the difference between being Sicilian and Italian. And I also talk about being in a situation where you're in a group with a bunch of people, and you all want something, but you have to figure out how to go about doing it with some tact. Okay. North Boston Dinner Party. Everyone gone round, but a half. 13 people at that table. Mother Sicilian, father Italian, and there the difference. Much is uncertain, alas, for these things idle are humming. Parody, he wrote, was never in existence, but assisted me this given by removing whichever anything needed to go away. And must convince 12 other people you're worthy of that, though it might not be so old and still desirable. Last piece. Okay. I tend to think in like these fragments. I was talking to a professor at Chatham in Pittsburgh, and I said to her, I said, you know, are these poems any good? And she's like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't understand what you're doing. And I said, well, that's because I think in fragments, and I'm somehow trying to bring it all together. Okay, this is called Penciled Correspondences. It's set up like a journal entry. I spent about 2 years in India and learned a lot. I probably need to go back for another 2 years, and when I'm done with that, I'll still realize that I still have a lot to learn in a place so vast and rich with hundreds of cultures and languages. This poem was based in Kolkata. Penciled Correspondences for Shamit Roy. 8 o'clock. Democratic liberalizations again led community to carve own biological niche by way of machetes. 9:27. Ambassador, driver's side. Taxi tout with gash so deep wide that how his tongue does, mouth closed. 9:42. Oh dear, said, nothing abandoned. Filling bottle with water beside a squat type loo. Open air, breeze, the clamor of rickshaws. 12:11. We drink masala chai, share biscuits, lemon cokes, Kit Kat chocolates. Dee Dee dries fingers in a tatty old snot rag. 13:39. First, what not? Big sister equals eunuch, to talk about. Next, to chat, chat, chat. 14:45. 400 if you're blue-eyed, 200 if you look around. An Israeli drug tourist from Queensland. Foosh. 17:22. Finally, remember to remember what not to remember and what not to forget. Dynamically empathizing to prevent what's told ire. 1917. Imagine the earth held in horns of a cow within which are millions of gods conversating. Piloted visas, pamphlets by the Dalai Lama, placards from the TYC, ideas and pharmaceuticals, no problem, these. 2051. Newsflash, thieves, sphincter, distressing dogs, an English edition paper, especially those, you don't rewrite what I write, warn Beatty Jack Reds, dragging bums down street at the hotel section of park, as one S&M queen might a leash. 23:55. Nearly well, I think. Midnight and okay. This is a really gentle poem. It's called Two Angels Picking Fruit on a Chilly New England Day. In Western Massachusetts, growing up where I did, you know, during the fall, you know, you go out with buckets and stuff like that. And, well, not the fall, late summer, you go out with buckets and you pick berries that are about that tiny but are so delicious, and strawberries and all these wonderful things that I remember that, what with genetically modified crops and stuff like that. I mean, this is the kind of memory that's disappearing. I talk to friends about how in some ways when I write, I'm trying to remember the generations that have come after me, what apples actually used to taste like. So 2 angels picking fruit on a chilly New England day. Melon seed. Spat to the street and, skipping rope, past farmland. Needn't carve, said, any surface. 1 and 2 and. Words, words, words and. Okay. This poem is entitled Dissonance of Compassion, by way of David Lynch. So this is a discordant poem. It has 2 voices. I hope I can do it justice because it probably reads better on the page. Dissonance of Compassion. I'd be sent to throw marbles from the window of my bedroom. Maybe it'll be very quiet. Sent to throw marbles when clearly there we hadn't any. And we can wear our raincoats. Sent to throw marbles till we'd become too tired to retrieve a single one. Might last only an hour, but let's hope. Okay, I've just got a few more poems for you. All right, I spent some time living in the Himalayas, and I was living in this little cement structure, and this bat came in, and I'd never seen a bat before up close, and it's in this tiny little space, and it's scared, and it's trying to get out. It's using its sonar or echoes and stuff like that, and it's just moving and moving and moving, and I didn't know how to get it out, and of course I'm scared, so I opened up an umbrella, and I'm just like going like this, trying to get it out the door. So it's called Opposite Where I Stood, amid Baksu's monsoon rains, kibbutzim, umbrellas, and Himalayas nocturnals. And went round and round, round and round, diameter, circumference, space in which could, smaller and smaller, getting so it went round and round. Room 5 meters by 5 meters, cut, not the. Windows barred and door in the corner. What? Don't stop. Did I tell you to stop? Opposite where I stood. All right, I'll read 2 more poems for you, and then I'll give the stage to Rich. Okay. This first poem I'm going to read to you needs some editing. I have an attachment to it, I don't know why. I've already tried submitting it, nobody wants it, so. It's called Poetry is Only Witnessing Something That's Poetic. Excuse me. Recollecting everything. Oh, you done grown me up and learned me. And it were meadows of mustard hops and poppy seed, and baskets or plastic bags, mushrooms and berry picking. The near fluorescent glow of fairy green so damp, arboreal forest. Last time we saw each other, you said, I'll rub your face with my cheeks. And with your head tucked beneath my chin, and the arch of your nose up along your eyebrows. Am I your sweetness? Again, am I your sweetness? In near tawdry lust, nakedness and twinkling. Where auguries and motes themselves in that gap between my testes and asshole, call it taint. as ever once I said, a privy, highbrow, and, said someone else, derelict. We rolled spliffs with pages from the Bible. Remember that? And smoked till our eyes got so red and starburst, I thought they'd bleed. Ow, 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 or we'd surely go blind. Ow. All right, this is my last poem. It's called The Waiting Bird, or Gideon's Ephod. Gideon was a Jewish king, and after conquering a tribe and collecting all the gold, his followers wanted him to make a crown. And instead, he took that gold and he made himself a rabbi's vestment. This poem is about being a traveler. So the waiting bird, or Gideon's ephod. And I make allusions to trains. There's supposed to be a sense of movement here. I know about being a whore in a lush high noon. Do not forsake me, O my darling. This needing a cap on my head, coal and steam, speech full of cultural indicators, bald man. Something borrowed during the moment when, carrying rosary beads in case I might croak, I settled to buy the room filled with prophets, a few tracks of Charlie, let me say Charlie, from some bartering who smile on greedily and wide his mouth. Yes, a yahoo in the hand of a dicko. And I'd smoke Gauloises to feel important, supposing Frank O'Hara, jerking the pics of African males with vaudevillian fatties stuffing smallmouth bombs, less than empty-handed or psychically broke. That spinster at the end of my road, her matted dog, both of them, afraid to be sociable. Telling myself the while I was quitting this habit, smoking twice some brand at some hour and 5 the next, these fingers brown and shitty, my cute girlfriend was sent to bubblegum. Aunt Bev would say trifling, drinking champagne at Granddad's funeral, pocketing round wheat crackers with brinza, sleepy-eyed, holding out for scrub typhus, the old brood mare's ear pressed deep into a conch shell, each unlaundered cloud hanging on loops of bang-up starshine. And still my mansion's the knapsack carried with me. Long unfactored miles, no place to go, not many friends. Chuff, chuff, chuff. All nights, but terror in foreign languages. It's 2:15. Wetness on my face. Thank you very, very much.
Woo!
Thank you, Heather.
Wow, that's great. What a voice. Thanks. Let's hear it for Alex Jorgensen.